What's up, basketball lovers? It's your boy Gabe and
Elijah
with Bio of Basketball, and we're here with another video for you guys. Today we're going to be discussing the talents of the 2000s. In my opinion, that's actually the most talented era. Not necessarily the greatest era, but in terms of potential, there were so many players that you looked at, and for a while, when Michael Jordan was getting older and had retired in the late 90s, and then eventually in 2003 for his final retirement, they were looking for basically someone who was a new Michael, and there was a lot of candidates. So for me, when I like looking at old highlights, this is one of my favorite eras to look at. The list just goes on and on with Kobe Bryant, Shawn Marion, Stephon Marbury, Steve Francis, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Latrell Sprewell, Grant Hill, Jerry Stackhouse, Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Chris Webber, Dirk Nowitzki, Allen Iverson, Gilbert Arenas, and more. I mean, the list again is very long. So for me, it was just looking back at it, you can see how many people could say this is the most talented era. I mean, it's definitely debatable, but in terms of potential, I hope we make that clear. I'm not talking about overall greatness, because a lot of them got injured or other off-the-court problems led to their career and their demise. But again, that list is so long. If you really think about it, all these guys, if you remember the All-Star games that used to go on, not only was it a lot harder competition, but for me, that was the end of the NBA golden age, where there was still physicality and people were still grinding for their meat. Basically, they were working for their dinner. And so if you just look at some of the stats that these guys put up, I think you'll learn to appreciate some of the stuff they did.
Kobe Bryant averaged 25 points per game, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds. Shawn Marion averaged 15 points per game and 9 rebounds. Stephon Marbury averaged 19 points per game, 7 assists. Stevie Francis averaged 18 points per game, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. Tracy McGrady averaged 20 points per game, 4 assists, 6 rebounds. Vince Carter averaged 4 rebounds. Latrell Sprewell also averaged 18 points per game, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds. Grant Hill averaged 17 points per game, 4 assists, and 6 rebounds. Jerry Stackhouse averaged 17 points per game, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. Ben Wallace, who was a defensive beast, averaged 6 points per game, 10 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Rasheed Wallace averaged 14 points per game and 7 rebounds. Chris Webber averaged 21 points per game, 4 assists, 10 rebounds, and 1.4 blocks. Dirk Nowitzki averaged 21 points per game and 8 rebounds. Steve Nash averaged 14 points per game and 8.5 assists. Jason Kidd averaged 12 points per game, 9 assists. Allen Iverson averaged 26.7 points per game, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds. Gilbert Arenas averaged 21 points per game, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. And Ray Allen averaged 19 points per game and 4 rebounds. Paul Pierce also, he averaged around 19 points per game, 4.5 assists, and 5.6 rebounds. Kevin Garnett averaged 18 points per game, 3.7 assists, and 10 rebounds. Antoine Jameson averaged 18.5 points per game, 7.5 rebounds, and Shaq averaged 24 points per game, 11 rebounds, and 2.3 blocks, which he was an unstoppable person in the paint. Tim Duncan averaged 19 points per game, 11 rebounds, and 2.2 blocks. Baron Davis averaged 16 points per game, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, and 2 steals. Amari Stoudemire averaged 19 points per game and 8 rebounds. And lastly, Yao Ming averaged 19 points per game, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks.
So, I'm sorry guys, I know that's a long list, but I think we were trying to get the point across that there was a lot of talent there. And for some of you guys may not even know these names. I suggest you look them up and really understand the highlights. But you also have to understand this was a different era where three-point shooting wasn't as prominent, so versatility in other ways was very valued. Stoudemire, Chris Webber, these guys, even Antoine Jameson, which some of you guys may know, some of you guys may not. These guys were very talented for a very long time in their career, and again, injuries and other stuff may have come up, and that's why you may see a drop in their later years. But when you talk about young talent, the 2000s was flourishing. And again, as you guys listen to this video and you look through the stats and see what they did, I think you'll learn to appreciate how much they really put up. And if you look, for me, what was special, if you guys were alive back then, those of you guys who are a little older, and those of you guys who are a little younger can look back at the highlights, you could see that Michael Jordan, who again was close to 40 years old at that time, they were all challenging for supremacy. And most of these guys on the list were fighting in playoff battles, even if it's the second or third round, or they were dominating the season, and for whatever reason, they may not have made it. So if you look at the 90s, where there was Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, these guys were playing and more, I guess, had more stardom a little longer. But a lot of these guys, if you look now, even Kobe, who retired a few years ago, a lot of these guys are around his age, but most of them are not known as NBA greats. But at the time they were playing, there was a debate whether Tracy McGrady was better than Kobe Bryant. There was times when Gilbert Arenas was putting 50 points on Kobe Bryant. Amari Stoudemire was dirty with Steve Nash. Shaq and Chris Webber used to battle it out in the playoffs several times. Jason Kidd carried his team to the finals. I'm sure you guys know about Allen Iverson. And I'm sure you guys may even question about Ben and Rasheed Wallace. Again, Ben only averaged about 6 points, but he was a great, contributor to his team. With 10 rebounds and 2 blocks, he was the motor. Rasheed Wallace, for a very long time, when he was on the Trailblazers, his talent was incredible. Grant Hill, they said, was the next Michael Jordan for a very long time. And unfortunately, again, ankle injuries kind of took him out. If you guys haven't heard about Latrell Sprewell, he's probably another guy you may want to look up. Again, being a Knicks fan, he was a very young player but talented motor for the Knicks in the 99 finals, I believe. And if you guys haven't heard his story, we'll probably go over that in another video, but he turned down $21 million claiming he can't feed his family with that. So, like I said, there's many reasons why these guys just aren't known as NBA greats right now. Jerry Stackhouse, Sean Marion, Stephen Marbury, they all had their reasons why they're not considered NBA greats that Michael Jordan is. And that's why I think we also have to appreciate, again, I'm not using the word greatness, but talent and potential. Because injuries, off-court problems, Michael Jordan had that all under control, so that when he came to the court, he was able to handle his business. And for me, that's what we have to appreciate. But also appreciate the talent that came in for these stars and talented players of the 2000s. So we thank you guys for coming in and watching this video again. I know this is probably a little longer than the last few videos we've done, but we also do want to get more content out to you guys so that we can really, again, share the experience of the game, and we want to hear what you guys have to think. Who are your favorite players? Did they play for your teams, your favorite teams? What do you guys think about why a lot of these guys dropped off? And who can be the next Michael Jordan? And we'll have a lot of video, or not necessarily the next Michael Jordan, but the next great player or greatest player of all time. Or do you believe somebody already came before Michael who is? So we want to hear your opinions. Please give us feedback, and thank you for watching.